Yeah, so it really all started with the book. A really good friend of mine gave me the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I'm sure many of the people watching this podcast is familiar with.
Yeah.
So I read the book and my mindset completely shifted. I started looking at how am I going to build assets? How am I going to get out of the rat race? And when my mind shifted to that, I started going to real estate seminars.
Hey, welcome guys to another great episode of REI Brothers podcast. Today we have John Okocha. He is an integral part of Elevate team, which is also he works hand to hand with Jorge Abreu. We had him on a previous episode. You guys can log in and check into that. Um, he grew over 1,700 multifamily real estate units in 2019. John is a master of assessing and analyzing properties and market fundamentals for new property acquisition, as well as creating, maintaining, and updating financial models of existing and potential new investment. And John has another multiple set of skills that I want to talk about in our episode. So thank you for your time, John. And please enlighten us how you started in this incredible industry.
Yeah, so it really all started with the book. A really good friend of mine gave me the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I'm sure many of the people watching this podcast is familiar with.
Yeah.
So I read the book and my mindset completely shifted. I started looking at how am I going to build assets? How am I going to get out of the rat race? And when my mind shifted to that, I started going to real estate seminars. And when I went to my first real estate seminar, I met a woman by the name of, I believe, Jamie Connors. I believe that was her name. I believe she was on The Apprentice or something like that. And she told us about how she grew up in RV parks and now she owns RV parks. So she went from zero to having $2 million net worth and talking about how real estate has changed her life. And it was amazing. It was the first time I met a millionaire and they're doing some 3-day event. And I was the first person back there to buy the event. I go to a 3-day event and eventually I meet another mentor who teaches me how to wholesale properties, single family properties. So I got my first property under contract when I was 17. Um, did a couple more deals, went off to college and kind of forgot about it a little bit. Came back, came back into the single family game, got my real estate license, and started wholesaling for a larger investment firm. From there, I worked for a smaller investor, and he had about maybe 300 properties. I would buy maybe 5 properties a month for him. So from there, that's actually where I met George and his partner Eric, and we had a business relationship. We did deals together, and eventually I left the single family side of things, and I told Eric and George, like, hey, I'm very interested in the multifamily side. I see you guys just purchased y'all's first multifamily property. I'm gonna jump on board and let's grow this thing together. Let's make something happen.
Nice, man. So let me tell you, because you mentioned several skills. Let me start with this. When did it all start? Like, okay, you read that book. What year was this?
This was in 2000 and I believe 2012.
Okay, so 2012. So it's taken several years. You went to college. You took a break from that. It's good. People sometimes think that it happens overnight. So it's been a while. You've been studying real estate. You started as a wholesaler, right? You went to seminars. You started studying yourself and dreaming about making the big bucks and all that stuff.
Read about
Let's
it.
let's talk about the most recent one. So you started working with Elevate. Um, so are you partnered with them? Are you an employee? How are you fall into that company?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I do get paid a salary, and then I also get a percentage of the deal as well.
Okay, awesome. This is the first time that we talk to somebody that is employed by the company and not they have their own company, which is amazing. The How did you how did you bump into this company? How did they find you, or how did you find them? How did you started working with them? And what set of skills? This is very important, especially for our listeners, right? When you land an opportunity with a company such elevating somebody as George, right, which is he has huge success in the multifamily business. You have to you have to be studied, right? You have to have some kind of skills in set like some type of knowledge in order for you to be able to take on that opportunity. So what set of skills and knowledge do you have at the time that you met George and you took on this opportunity?
Yeah, so I was good at finding deals. I found multiple deals on the single family side, and they knew that I was good at finding deals. A lot of the deals and they had a lot of good deals as well on their side, on the wholesaling side, because they would actually sell properties. I was buying properties for an investor, and I was really good at finding deals. I was really good at building relationships. I was really good at following up with people, at having good relationships in order to get different deals. And I took that same skill set and put it into multifamily, being resourceful, talking to multiple brokers, that sort of thing. And when I did that, within the first 30 days, we had an LOI of over 400 units under LOI. So when I did that, they're like, oh, I guess, he's a part of the team now, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. In regards, okay, so you're very broad in regards, and people say that, you have to maintain those relationships and follow up and the brokers. What does that look like in regards to organizing like organizing yourself to be able to follow up with these people, right? Because at the level that you're networking, with hundreds of people. How do you keep track of all these people and when and how to follow up with this? Do you automate everything with a program? Do you have a virtual or some type of assistance that is telling you, hey, you need to contact with these people? How do you keep track of all this stuff? And this is for the people that are trying to get into this and kind of see how it's done.
Yeah, at the beginning, I just used a spreadsheet. It would have the name, company, number, notes, and date contacted. That's how I did it at the beginning. Now we're using Active Campaign, and in Active Campaign, you can add multiple contacts. You could show when you've contacted them. You could tag them. So, this is an accredited investor. This first person's unaccredited. I met this person at this event. This person lives in this area, and they're looking for this. That sort of thing. And it even has a pipeline. So it has different stages that you can put them, like, oh, is this person very interested? Are they warm? Are they cold? That kind of thing.
Nice. Yeah, we use Active Campaign. That's a powerful tool, man. I love it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, it's great. That's great.
Yeah. So where? Okay. So you're in your bio, it says that you're a great listener, right? It's very difficult to listen and to remember all these stories and who's who and all that stuff. How did you pick up that skill?
Well, I used to not be, a lot of people say, oh, John, you're really good at communicating with people. You're really good at connecting with people. I used to not be very good at that. So what I would do is I'd read a lot of books. First book I read on that was, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And, I'm actually, some people don't really know this, but I'm actually, I would say more of maybe an ambivert, someone that's extroverted and introverted. And introverts, they're typically better at listening to people than extroverts. They're people that like to really have a deeper level conversation. And I've always been interested in people. So that's the only reason why I like to listen, because I genuinely like people.
Okay, that's awesome, man. And but this started not as at a younger age. You started developing that, and as people were telling you, hey, man, you're kind of good at this, you started focusing on that skill and honing on those skills and making it bigger.
Yeah, plus it was fun. I like networking with people. I like going to different networking events. And I think that's the best way to find what you're looking for, is by different networking events, whether it's online or offline. Online, that's how I bumped into Eric and George's company on the side where they did the single family things, and that's how I got to know them.
Now, were they looking for somebody, or you just ask and be like, let me ask these people if I can join the team? And I'm just curious.
Well, I was actually when I first approached them, there was actually to purchase properties. They were selling some single family properties, and that's actually how I met with them initially. And after about maybe a year or 8 months or so, after I left the company, I was actually speaking with one of the people from the company, and they were telling me, John, I think you'd be great for our team. But this was actually on the single family side. And I told her, I'm not interested in single family. I'm only interested in apartment buildings. I'm only interested in commercial. And she said, well, we actually just bought a apartment complex. And I said, that's what I'd like to hear.
Okay. So let's get into commercial in multifamily, right? Because I think everybody that gets into, or at least the majority of us that get into multifamily started as single family, right? You got those limited beliefs, or you just read the books that, or listen to the people that specializes in single families. When was the aha moment for you to be like, no, I'm not doing single families anymore. I'm going to commercial multifamily?
I've always wanted to do multifamily. Even when I was in college, there was the guy that was teaching me how to wholesale. I was on his buyer's list, and he was telling me you can wholesale anything. This was like in 2013 or 14 or something. And I remember seeing an ad for a hotel. I guess he got a hotel under contract, and he was going to wholesale a hotel, and was wholesaling. They're going to wholesale an apartment complex. And I was just looking at that, and I've always wanted to do commercial, always wanted to do apartment buildings, and I was always really interested and wanted to learn that side of the business. So I actually bought a course on wholesaling apartments, and it was just a small course. What he was going to do, he was just going to give you a couple of things and maybe a couple of files and say, hey, this is what you need to do. It wasn't very structured or anything. It was just one of those courses you just find on the internet or something. And I remember talking to a apartment owner and asking them, hey, are you interested in selling? And they said, yeah. And it's funny, we had the end buyer, but we didn't have the seller under contract, which I learned a beautiful lesson that day. Make sure you get everything under contract, and you don't just go off of verbals and stuff like that. But yeah, I've always wanted to do, and that was when I was actually 19. But I started with Elevate when I was 23. So that was a couple of years before. So I've always had that itch for apartments. And my idea was, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save up. I'm going to do single family. I'm going to save up and, do the whole fourplex thing, put money down, FHA, live in one of the units, rent out the other units, and then kind of flip my way into multifamily. But at one point, I was just like, I'm just going to go for what I want to go for. Even though I don't know exactly what to do. And I just made that decision. I was like, you know what, I'm burning the ships. I don't really know multifamily that well, but I'm going to start calling these brokers, and I'm just going to figure it out.
Nice, man. Now let's talk about the difference between when you're analyzing or looking for deals for multifamily, right? And now you're working with Elevate and George. How do you, and you're the person who finds those deals, and you're the person who analyzes them and find, the deals that are going to provide great returns to the company, investors, and you as well. How do you find those deals, and how do you analyze them? And what do you have to learn compared to, let's say, for investing in single family homes or fix and flips or buying holds? What's the difference? What set of skills do you have to bring to the table? And how do you analyze those deals that are currently you're looking for?
Yeah, so it's a combination of multiple things. How people get deals, as far as I know, primarily people get deals from brokers. They have good relationships with brokers, and the brokers will send them something off market. So there's that way, and there's also other general partners in the industry as well, who might be looking for someone to help them, maybe on the capital side or on the construction side. Whether it's signing on a loan, there's multiple ways you could find deals and partner on deals. In multifamily, the deal is bigger, so there's more money to go around. So people are more willing to partner with other people in order to get a deal done.
Okay, awesome. And how do you find those? Well, you told me how you find those deals. How is Elevate analyzing those deals, especially with the situation that's going on with COVID? You guys are in Texas, right?
Yeah, we're in Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, and are you guys mainly focusing in Texas, or you have other markets that you're focusing on?
Yeah. So we like to focus on the southeastern part of the United States, and we're also in the Midwest as well. We just closed on a property in South Dakota. Typically, what we look for is just really strong population growth, strong economic growth, states that are landlord friendly, and then on a micro level, we look for a 10% cash on cash on our investments. That's what we look for.
Okay.
And if we have, and it's pretty cookie cutter stuff. If we can apply that in multiple states, and as long as we can buy over a certain amount of units, it makes sense for us to buy in that area.
Okay. How's right now with COVID, things that are going on, investors being a little bit apprehensive where they put the money and how they put their money, or for how long they put the money on. How is that working for you guys? Difficulties that you found recently compared to previous years? You mentioned 10% cash on cash returns. Is that still a thing, or how do you see that working in the future?
Well, now we're looking for deals that are more. At the beginning, we'd buy something that maybe 50% occupied or 60% occupied. Now we're typically looking higher. We're looking, maybe something that's maybe 85% occupied, and we'll buy maybe at maybe 8 to 7 cash on cash, that kind of thing. So buying deals that are a little more stabilized, that still have a value add component. That's how we're reacting to COVID. And we're still focused on C&B multifamily properties. I mean, these are properties that are doing very, very well under these current situations.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, we've also had to kind of adjust our underwriting methods and strategies for the next year. How is right now? Let's talk about you're changing your underwriting methods to, you said 6 to 7% cash on cash.
Probably seven to eight cash.
7 to 8 cash on cash. How are you seeing the different, or how do you see lending or financing those properties in the future compared to, for example, 2018, 2019, where things were more flex, or you see things working out differently now?
As far as on the financing side, money is cheaper than it's ever been. And there's still a lot of institutions that are willing to give out money. At the height of COVID, there were a lot of institutions that got really scared. There was actually a deal that we're working on, and everyone just basically shut down. There were companies that we had putting in money to different deals, and they just said, "Hey, we don't know what's going on. We're just going to shut down for right now." But it seems like people are getting more and more interested in what's going on. Or they see a lot more and more opportunities. So there are more and more people that are opening up, and there's a lot of investors who are looking at the opportunity as well. And they're saying, I think it's time to buy. The famous quote, I think from either Baron Rothschild or John D. Rockefeller, they say, buy when there's blood in the streets. There's clearly blood in the streets. So I guess it's time to buy, right?
Yeah. How do you see 2021?
That's a really good question. I don't think we're going to return to normal for maybe another 2 to 3 years. That's my personal opinion. 2021, I think it really just depends on who gets elected. I think that's the biggest thing. It depends on who gets elected.
Okay.
My opinion. Yeah.
But do you still see the opportunities out there?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think no matter who gets elected, there's going to be a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
A lot of people think there's going to be another crash coming very, very soon. And I mean, that's definitely a positive. I mean, that's definitely something that I think is going to happen, especially with all these small businesses, and people are losing their jobs. People are really going crazy right now, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity because people are going crazy right now. So I think that there's going to be a range of opportunity for the next 3 to maybe even 5 years.
Yeah.
Because of what's going on right now.
Nice. Yeah, no, we agree to that, man. We see the opportunity, and we've learned to smell the blood in the streets,
Yeah,
like you said.
pretty
Yeah,
smelly.
because people tend to be scared. The media is always portraying, the world is gonna end. But for those of for those of us who can actually start learning to smell the blood in the streets, and see the opportunities, it's great times.
Great time. This is probably one of the best times ever to be in real estate. And I mean, money is cheap. Everybody wants to give you money. I think this is one of the best times to start a business in general. Start a business and be in real estate. Because if you can live right now, and if you do your business and get established right now, it's going to be a cakewalk in the future. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. What do you recommend for somebody that's starting in multifamily real estate investing?
Join a mastermind with the people that are doing exactly what you're doing, what you want to do, and to get a mentor. That's something that I wish I would have focused on earlier. I mean, I did get a mentor, but I didn't get to join a mastermind. But that's what I would strongly recommend. They're going to put you 2 to maybe even 5 years ahead of where you would be if you didn't have a mentor and have masterminds and different things like that. They'll give you the resources that you need in order to get to the place you want to be, and your mindset will change. And that's extremely important. It's extremely important to have your mindset change and be on that level of frequency, or that level of thinking, to be able to get your goals.
Nice, man. Awesome advice. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, man?
Man, just go for what you want.
Nice.
Just go for what you want. Just do it. That is the answer. Just do it.
What's your personal goal?
My personal goal, I want to raise for the first fund, I want to raise $1 billion fund and invest and use the equity to invest into different apartment buildings, and then also do some office and just really exciting stuff.
Nice. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Tell our audience, where can they find more about you? Where can they contact you if they have any questions, or if they want to give you, props for what you do?
Yeah. And another thing is, if you'd like to, I'm giving out a due diligence packet. So if you send me an email at John@Elevate, that's ELEVATE.CIG. Let me repeat that. That's John, JOHN, at Elevate, ELEVATE.CIG. Sorry, no.
We'll have it in the notes, but go ahead, man.
We'll put it in the notes. I can't say it, so we'll put it in the notes.
Yeah.
If you email me and mention this episode, I will send you a due diligence checklist. But you could also reach me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. The best way to reach me is on Instagram. I'm at Johnny Equity. That's JOHNNYEQUITY.
Nice, awesome, man. So yeah, please reach out. The link to the email is gonna be on the episode notes. And thank you, John, for your time, man. I love your story. You started early. We're trying to capture those younger people also, who are trying to find their way, into whatever opportunities there are in life. I mean, for our audience is commercial multifamily real estate, and it's amazing to see how the younger and younger people are getting more focused on their lives at an early age. I mean, I remember my in my 20s, all I wanted to do is party. And then in my 30s, I kind of like, okay, what the hell's going on, man? I need to put my head where it's supposed to be at. So I congratulate you for that, man.
Yeah, we're still partying,
Well, yeah, but now I have to kind of like sit back and be like, okay, I partied too much, man. I need to focus on this. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's awesome. No, because yeah, we see it more and more as we talk to people. A lot of younger people are approaching us. It's like, hey, how do I get to do this? How do I get it to do that? And they're listening to our podcast. And we're noticing that, it's like, and we're like, man, I wish I was there at your age, thinking about what you're thinking right now, instead of me, taking the easy road, and then it's like, okay, where was I in my 20s? You know what I'm saying? So I congratulate you on that, man. Say hi to George, even though we communicate a lot on Instagram. I hope he knows that you're on this podcast. And for our listeners out there, please give us some love, 5-star reviews, some comments, questions. If you have any questions for John, anything that you would like us to bring to the podcast, we'd really appreciate it. And this is it for today. Thank you, John. I appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you for having me.